So by 84, we've got that's Jupiter, Neptune conjunct just about to go into Capricorn, and Pluto just going into Scorpio. And so that was the George Orwell vision of when he wrote his book. His book, it was about Neptune going into Capricorn and Pluto into Scorpio from going back then, thinking about the future at that time. So it's when you would get the extreme, it's when the Earth would be over in Taurus. So in the fall, when the Earth was in Aries or Taurus, they would all pile up in those signs. When the Earth would be in Libra or Scorpio, it would be in the middle of that. It would be in between. It would be more a bucket or a seesaw when the moon would go across it. So now Jupiter's moving out. It's just changed over 85. It's starting to loosen up a little bit. But still, like in these time periods, there's the Earth, but all the planets other than the Earth are in the we us, the social sense. This is 85. And they're going to continue to be more or less there. And this is the energy that we got to get the world together. Computers were built. I got my first computer in 77, actually. It was a laptop, Apple II. It came in pieces. It cost me $3,000 to put these pieces together. And it was 48K. It was 48K. And then you had to buy $500 to get another little disc to be able to get another 750 for each disc. I had this stack of discs to calculate planets. I had to go to one, then go to the next, go to the next to calculate a chart. It had to be done in pieces.
Wow.
But before then, you were just all hand calculating all these things. So this pile up on all one side, in one quarter, one side, it is incredibly unique. It's the only way to explain the history we've been through and the extremes we've been through over these last few years. Well, last 40 years now, sorry.
It's also about the time that Astrology Toronto was coming together.
Yeah?
85, 86, something.
So now we're starting to see 86, we're starting to see the planets build up. Where you see, there's Pluto still in Scorpio, but there's Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. They're building up. Neptune's in Capricorn, Uranus is going to join it, Saturn's going to join it in 89. You can see them building up. First we got the Jupiter, Uranus, and Sag. So this is 88. This was really the precursor to the internet and the World Wide Web becoming, which hasn't happened yet. But I remember buying my first modem, and it was modem 80 bits per second, no programming, no nothing. So there was no, like you hook it up to a phone, you'd send something, and you'd wait half an hour. You don't know if they got it or not. There's no way of knowing if they got it or not. Then you call on the phone. There's no cell phones, so you had to wait till that was finished to call. Then you call to ask them, "Did you get it?" "No, I didn't get it." "Oh, geez, no, it crashed." Or, "Oh, yes, it worked." That was the modem 80, but it never been done before. It was exciting, even though it took forever. So things started moving from there. So as you get into 89, you get all these ones moving into Capricorn, the Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. That's Capricorn's indigo. These are the indigo kids. This was the beginning of mysticism, the Neptune and Capricorn. Get a tattoo, get a body piercing, get something physical. It's going to be your statement of your spirituality. So it became very earthy, that whole concept that wasn't really that predominant before that. Tattoos have always been there, but nothing like it is
Now.
Yeah, it's really built up from this time. Like getting the crystal, buying the crystal, having the stone, having all these things. It was really part of the Capricornian vision. I thought most people should just sit on the crystals, but anyways, that was another story.
So like in a way, also maybe more mystics were working, right? Like,
Well, it brought the vision into a very tactile, physical level. So that's why the crystals and the herbs and everything got really magnified. So it was, in a way, it's very healing. In another way, it was much more physical than the mystical things had been before. It hadn't been expressed like that before, and so it was exciting for a lot of people.
Yeah, I was thinking because it's Capricorn, maybe they were, making it like a business
Yeah.
or.
But it was also a feminine sign, so it really was a beginning of women taking power. Now, why can't I have a tattoo? Why can't I do this? I'm getting this person. I'm doing this. There was really, like, at least from here, like, I always wake myself up and say, well, what was happening in Africa, or what was happening in India, or what was happening in China? We had the hippie thing here. It wasn't a hippie thing in China.
No, but through the 60s and 70s and into the 80s, there was an exchange of culture going on.
Yeah. Well, this group thing is the exchange of culture. It's the world joining together. The electricity, the music, the movies. It's really incredible. Like, this is the point, probably you could say, is the beginning of the end of books. To videos, to changing to other perceptions, other ways of expressing things. But you see, like right here, you can see, like, there's this just basic pattern. Like, the solar system doesn't usually line up like that. It's great for telescopes because you can get boom, boom, boom. They all come up right away, one after the other. So this is 89, 90. So we got a 1. So now Jupiter was opposing it, but still, inside of 2.5 years, you got with Saturn going to Capricorn, holding that, and Pluto backing it up in Scorpio. I was going to get a bunch of news clippings to have a second thing to go beside these, but I never really got around and did it. Now, 91, Saturn's moved on into Aquarius, but this is I'm not sure what the exact date for the World Wide Web starting was. It's around here. But the vision, the Uranus and the Neptune and the Saturn, the vision of why wouldn't the world be organized? Everybody's using the same computers. Everyone's doing these things. Why wouldn't it? So it really opened up the doors. At the same time, not every country was going along with it, but it's still people networking and things like this. Do you have it? World Wide Web?
According to Wikipedia, which of course is always correct, 1989.
Oh, 89. So at the beginning of this, at the beginning of all this. Okay, yeah. So this was a big change. That was a big lineup, and the Pluto intensity is probably the computer sides coming into it, and making it global. I mean, when Neptune was in Sag, that was everybody was trying to change and get legal copyrights for how the web was going to be. They're buying and they're trying to build up vision, and the Pluto going in it. It's all been about who owns what video, who owns what can you use. We're getting sort of repercussions off that now. Anyways, this is 91.
The first browser wasn't released until 1991, so
Yeah.
there was that whole
Yeah.
section in there,
Through that whole period.
leading up to the Uranus-Neptune conjunction.
92. It was in 93 that you had Uranus-Neptune conjunction. And that Uranus-Neptune conjunction, this is an older form, but it had all the nodes. When you put all the nodes, it's really in this whole next area that all the nodes were being hit by this Uranus-Neptune. That's where Saturn-Pluto is now, dealing with the repercussions of Uranus-Neptune. And Saturn is going through Aquarius and moving along, but he's still got extreme charts. I think it's important to see this to understand where we are now. It's 93, just come along. See Saturn here going through Pisces, moving along. It's going to be, all the other planets are still in the we, us, the group, the responsibility, the globalization focus. It's not until we get to 96 that Saturn goes into Aries. And it's the first planet that represents, that says, hey, what about independence? What about freedom? What about what I want to do, opposed to all the rules of what? We don't want, at the same time, it gets complicated. There's so many ways to look at it. If you were going to take the feminist movement and how it built up, And the feminine, this is all the we, us, the teamwork, the feminine work of looking at things. You have all the rules. By the time all the rules are there for everything, where everything's equal in the way it should be, no one's going to have any freedoms. So there's a funny balance between how much gets imposed, how much doesn't get imposed, what's acceptable, what's not. So that I live through it, but I puzzle it. It's still a puzzle looking at how you still see it different ways as you're coming through it at different times. But that's the beginning of the I me starting to come in. This is the beginning of the, what would I call it? The beginning of the rebel base that has to fight the evil Death Star of the evil empire. So you have the we us evil empire, and you have, what about me? The rebel base of the Saturn and Aries. Of course, now we got Uranus and Aries. There's a lot more of a. So this starts loosening up a little bit. 97, and Jupiter, Saturn's going to go into Taurus. Jupiter. So as we're coming up to the millennium, which the big fear. Oops. Oh, sorry. I just back up one for a second. The big fear of the millennium was from all the programming we all did. From all the program, no one had a program for what happens when it hits 2000, 2000. Everything was done for the 19th century. And there was no programming clause for it jumping to the next century. And they thought all the computers were going to break. They just went past it and they ended up adjusting it. But it was like, it was a big, people were really afraid of it at that time. And this is maybe the Uranus, Neptune.
In employment at that time, all the programmers being hired to change the programs.
Yeah, Uranus, Neptune, and Aquarius. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Well, I think we could have seen some pretty.
But the actual date. Okay, so let's get on to the next one.